Challenge runs are a form of playing a game where you typically restrict yourself from resources, items, and functions in a game to make it harder and more unique, adding flavor to a playthrough. Some people would go as far to say some games that are already hard, like Dark Souls or Elden Ring, especially the Elden Ring DLC, don't need a challenge run because they're already challenging by design. And to that, I say, what am I, a pussy? So naturally, I take a game I've never played, I've vaguely watched with a few slight mentions of it in passing, and I slap a challenge on it. I know there are cities in the game, so the goal is to take one of those over, or at least make it like my wallet, empty and lacking resources. I'll be the first one to say it, it's not a grand challenge like beating a game with the Jungle Beat bongo controllers from the Nintendo GameCube, rigged up using 28 different cables and 9 different software, turning my apartment from a nice living area and a stable income to the landlords to a catastrophic liability. Oh, right, you still don't know the game we're playing. We are playing the beloved, but probably also hated, Kenshi, where every step you take is one step closer to being beat to near death, enslaved, robbed, cannibalized, sold, or just straight up killed in a post-apocalyptic world. I see you sitting there saying, yeah, this is on brand, it's a post-apocalyptic world. But in Kenshi, you will get beat down and left to die for nothing more than sport. So yeah, it's a fun experience. And if that doesn't sound fun already, remember that this is your average bandit with no real armor or a good weapon. And most importantly, friends, for when they need to do a pop-up gang initiation. And the only thing worse than bandits is the wildlife. And for the Kenshi players, beak things. If you don't know what I'm referencing, just be happy that you have your sanity. And then after all of that, there's the player. No skills, no money, no friends. And, well, this is either gonna go really well or really bad. And the ladder's broken. So, let's begin. We start with character customization, where you choose a race and a subrace, giving you a few different stat positives and negatives. I chose a human, Scorchlander, and start to give him a leader physique. I start by giving them the you know I had to do it to him pose. I briefly made them a gremlin, decided it was a terrible idea for a leader, so I made them tall and poked out their chests like Santa with a big belly, with his hands rested on it. But we were not Santa, and we didn't have a big belly. We were a nobody, and we were dying from malnourishment before we started the game. I made sure to put his neck at the most optimal position for better vision, and then of course sealed the deal with the glorious name, Cover. And I'll be the first one to tell you, that's a name with a promising fate. And with that, we're ready to go. We spawned in a place by the name of Border Zone, and well, it's a total dump, but this dump is going to be our training grounds. Now, I did play this game for about an hour to figure out the controls, and well, I'm sure everybody that's played this game knows how that went. But in that time, I found a little bit of stuff I could steal at the start, so I went to go do that. After taking everything off the shelves, I quickly went to the chest and broke it open. And well, there wasn't really much of anything in there, but what does it matter? It's all getting sold at the bar anyway. After selling that assorted garbage I found from the chest at the bar, it's time to make some real money. And I'm going to do that by mining copper. And while I mine that copper, I'm going to show you another plan that I have for making money that's much better in concept. So hear me out. We're going to be mining and we're going to be making money while we do it. And well, bandits want everything we have all the time. So if we see some bandits, we'll seduce them with the luscious thoughts of more money in their pockets, and then we'll run back to the bar, where with any luck, the alcoholics will think that the bandits are trying to start a fight with them, or better yet, take their alcohol, which at that point, I will stand in the back of the room like a creep, waiting for my money bags to lose consciousness for the foreseeable future. And then starts the looting spree. And about 20 minutes later, in real time, some bandits showed up when I was leaving town and started screaming from a far distance away. Turns out, some of the bandits were looking at me, and the others were looking at a boar for, well, food. And the bandits that were looking at me, I led into the town to enact the plan. And it didn't go 100% as planned. I didn't get to stand in the back of the room like a creep. I was more running around the room in fear after being hit on the head and in the stomach. But in the end, we got some loot. And after looting and watching a man get launched into the stratosphere, I could confidently say I had that poverty fit, clipping included. And at this point, day 3 and 30 minutes into our run, it was time to move towns to the neighboring town, by the name of Squin, where we immediately went to the bar and hired a woman by the name of Meow. Now, I'm not the best at names, I never really have been, but who would name their child Meow? And, well, after looking it up, about 8,870. So, good luck out there to the Meows of the world. I guarantee you're gonna need it. Anyway, Takeover and Meow had a job to do, and that was get money. So they both looked for a mine and got to work. And they found one not too close to town, but not far enough to feel in danger. But I would soon realize you are always in danger. So, while mining like always, I sped up time like one does because, well, it's slow. And I was not really paying attention because I might have been dozing off a bit, but you know, it woke me up seeing a group of bandits appear out of nowhere like 10 brackens ready to snap my neck. And in my panic, not only did they both get beat down in lightning fast speeds, but I also didn't get to see it. Yeah, I'm rooting for team nameless_0. I'm just on the losing side right now. And that was the first action in 30 minutes. But there was no real time to be bent over about it, because Meow was bleeding out, and so was Takeover. Luckily for us, the bandits only wanted to knock us out, and they took absolutely nothing from us. So Takeover and Meow were bandaged soon after, and with money in mind, I looked for the bandits for about 20 seconds before realizing, well, if I couldn't outrun them the first time, why would it work the second time? I send Takeover back to the bar in Squin, and as he walks in the front door, I remember I left Meow on the floor back of the mine, so I send him back to get her. But when I look back at Meow's condition, she's actually woken up and she sees a bandit crawling away from her, so she does what anyone would do. Showed him the way of the blade.
Help! Help! Help me! Help!
Apart from 2 events, we continued to mine at new and closer nodes for the next 2 hours in real time, but let me tell you what those 2 events were. I was not happy with getting attacked, and I felt like the money was not good enough, so why earn money to buy things when I can just steal them? So the same day we were attacked, we decided to steal from the very town we were visiting. Let's get lockpicking, and to be completely honest, it didn't take much time at all. We didn't get anything notable at all, just some trash gear and the understanding that people sleep hard. Oh, and if there are guardians outside the door of the home you just robbed, just walk out like you own the place, and nobody will really care. We couldn't sell the goods we stole in town, so I gave it to Meow and told them to sell it in the hellhole that we spawned in. They were immediately stopped at the gate, and after responding to the guard's with a the guard just let me go. The gear didn't sell for much of anything, and we hired another helper by the name of Soto, and banished them to the mines right away. Other than that, we bought a home for 7,200 cats, and we started constructing our plan to take over. With Meow and Soto automatically getting copper and making consistent money, it wasn't that hard to drop another 3,000 cats to hire someone by the name of Hoglongs. Sadly, with the contract signed and the 3,000 cats taken to be freed from their slaver, they had signed up from a bad life to a horrendous one. They were a warrior that craved battle, and most would think that means that they have some sort of skill, but you would be very wrong, because they were bad at literally everything. But that wasn't going to stop me from making them into a warrior, so I put them on some training dummies I found on the second floor of a building. Turns out when night comes, with no warning from the Squin guards, they will come in and beat you to near death if you're training. So, in less than 24 hours, Hoglongs was, let's say, feeling the burn of what they signed up for. But it didn't really matter too much, because they just freed themselves and walked out like nothing really happened. So, I guess all was well. Until about one day later, when I sent Hoglongs out to mine, and turns out they were very much a wanted criminal for training past bedtime. And let me tell you, that training did not help them one bit in combat. So when they walked out of town, they got beat up by the guards, and Soto tried to help, and well, they got some too. It was a very short and one-sided fight, and Takeover had to watch both of them get carried away with nothing he could do about it. Hoglongs was released before Soto for some reason, and Takeover was getting better at making bandanas. Did I mention that? I guess not. Well, Takeover decided that it was not his goal to take over anymore, but he would leave it to a great warrior. Hoglongs is that great warrior. So, yeah. After Hoglongs was released, it was his training arc, so he started hitting the dummy, and it was Takeover's job to get him armor and weapons he needed to be the best he could be. So, on day 13, 5 hours into playing, it was time to steal again, and we started with the same armor smith we stole from at the start. Getting in with absolutely no problem, we grabbed the best armor we could find, and then we headed to the weaponsmith and grabbed a sword as well. Now with Hotlongs geared up and ready to go, all they had to do was go out into the world and find a new city. The plan was to make money here, and Hotlongs would grow an army and come back to take over this town. But Kenshi showed me that plans like that are part of fairy tales, and not for this world. 2 minutes into Hotlongs walking, they were jumped by bandits, and one would think 51-pound armor and a 9-pound weapon would be able to take out a few, if not all, of the hungry, starving, malnourished bandits. No. Hotlongs got beat up and left in the middle of nowhere with a head injury, and, well, they eventually met their fate. Death. After that, Takeover, Mao, and Soto packed up to see more of the world, and they traveled north to find a place called Vane, where it was consistently raining red water, home to the Hivers. But sadly, we never saw them because I thought we could 1v3 a gorilla. We could not 1v3 a gorilla. With Takeover and Soto out of commission, I just wanted to see a little bit more of the world before I took a break from Kenshi. So Meow walked about 100 steps north before getting knocked out and eaten alive by a beak thing. So just to recap, I started in a dump, got copper, moved to a slightly cleaner dump, made a home, hired 3 friends that helped me get more copper, got racially profiled the entire time and looked down on, then was killed by bandits and wildlife, and 14 days of in-game time and 7 hours of IRL time. Okay, one more try. A little bit has happened off cam. About 2 to 3 in-game days have passed since the event of Hoglong's departure and demise. We've hired 3 new people: Voth for 3k cats, Ruka for free because they wanted to prove themselves as a warrior once more, and Orin for another 3k cats. Right now, Ruka and Orin are the best fighters that we have, and they've been training in the art of the blade for many days now, and currently they're running in circles to train their stamina, and they're also the new guards for Soto and Hotlongs. Other than that, most is the same, and luckily, right when I started recording, we were attacked. Not so lucky, their training was still for nothing. And well, you know, they were outnumbered, and my mouse was dying, and my monitor was having problems. Anyway, we ran to the guards, and they took care of it. On the dawn of the next day, Orin was off for an adventure. Our best warrior without heavy armor, so they could outrun any starving bandits. Orin came across a town run by the Holy Nation, and well, I didn't know if they were hostile or not. So I walked up to greet them, and if they ran after me, I should have enough of a head start to be safe. And after one of the guards screamed, "Your kind aren't welcome here," I turned around and started to walk away before I started to run because their leader said, "Send them to the rebirth." So it was time to go. I escaped those Holy Knight members before running into a new pack of them, which 95% of them were super slow and I could outrun easily. But the last 5% is what really mattered, because this man was faster than you could ever imagine. And not to mention, he was wearing full armor with a weapon. After getting beat down and captured by the Usain Bolt of guards, conveniently in front of a mining enslavement camp, well, I had to try to break out. So it's time to get to work. I unlocked the same cage over and over, and the same guard came upstairs to relock it over and over until I finally decided it was my chance, and I opened up the cage. Stepped 2 feet with a 0% chance, almost attempting to knock out a guard, but stopped myself and tried to start a prison break by letting out the others. This was quickly stopped by a sword chop to the stomach. Okay, so that didn't work. Plan B. There are not many guards outside, and wildlife is scary, so if I can get the rest of my team over to the camp and get some wildlife to chase us, we can do the bar strat. Having the guards thoroughly distracted by wildlife, we can set Orin free, and we can walk away with, hopefully, some of our limbs. So I gathered the team, and they headed out. This would be a long, hard journey, but one they had to endure at the end of the day. The team was made of 90% warriors, so success was already in our hands. The fighting spirit of a warrior wouldn't die to some starving bandits. Oh yeah, we also hired a secret weapon, someone by the name of Rand the Giant, with the best stats on our team. So a small callback, remember this place where Hotlongs died in a past life? Well, we're back, and the same bandits are around, but this time we have true and ready fighters, trained in the arts of the blade. truly no happy endings in this game. Maybe a different playstyle next time? Give me some ideas in the comments. I hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you want more content like this. Leave suggestions and even challenges in the comments below, and stay hydrated. I'll see you in the next one.